Hello and welcome. My name's Sam and this is A Little Greenhouse Creates. Thank you for joining me today and welcome to my craft room. So this week we are focusing on the stamp set of the week, Valentine's Kisses. Get my teeth back in. Comes as a die and as a stamp set. And if you haven't seen it, then I was showing you it on Monday and on also Wednesday. Today is Funky Fold Friday. So I do apologise if it's a little bit dark. It is bitterly cold here and very, very dark. So the scarf's on now and I've got myself my coffee. So let's turn the camera around and get started. Okay, so we've got a funky fold. Just put the stamp sets aside. So this is called a bay window. I've done it a couple of times. It lays flat for postage. You have this little side flap here, which you pick up and you pop underneath, and it gives you that bay window effect. This has also got a heart in the middle missing, and it shows you straight through to the other side where there is some more pretty DSP. And we've got this little man here. So let's get the supplies in. So what have I got today? I have got a piece of cardstock which measures 4 inches by 11, which we will score together in a second. I have a piece of designer series paper which is 3 7/8 by 11, which we will cut in a moment. I have a piece of white cardstock which measures 3 7/8 by 5 1/4 for inside. I don't know why I've given you this. A piece of scrap so that you can create your little teddy bear and your notice. I have got, we'll get rid of that piece, a sentiment strip which is 1/2 inch by 2 3/4, and I have borrowed the heart from the stamp set from a couple of weeks ago, which is Endless Love dies, and it's one of the dies in here. Right, okay, so let's get to do, normally we start with the stamping. I'm going to start with the scoring and the cutting today, just to make life a little easier. So this is the 4 by 11 inches, and I'm going to cut it at 3. I'll tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to do it on this. I'm going to do it on my scoreboard. So let's bring that in. We'll bring in the cutter in a moment. So let's put it on the scoreboard, bring in my bone folder. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to score it at 3/8. So that's 1, 2, 3, straight down 3/8. Then I'm going to score it at 1 7/8. So that's 1 all the way across to 1 7/8. Then I'm going to cut it at, at 3 at 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 makes 5. Then I'm going to cut it at 5 1/8. Do not worry about all of these measurements. I will put them on my blog, so you'll have them there. And then the last one is 5 1/2. Okay, so that's all the scoring. So that's 3/8, 1 7/8, 3 5/8, 5 1/8, and 5 1/2. Okay, so that's that one. Put that away. Now we'll bring in the trimmer. Put that aside. Bring in the trimmer. And I want to cut this in order. So they're all going to be 3 7/8 in length, but now we need them in width. So I'm just going to turn it round because I want to cut that. Say there you. I want to cut that at 1/4 inch. So let's do that, 1/4 inch, and I'm going to make it there. Turn it round. That way it'll follow a pattern. It doesn't have to in this one, but obviously if you're using a piece of paper or a piece of DSP that does have a pattern, it's very important that you cut in this order. But as once again, I will bring it onto my blog. Okay, so then we're going 1 1/4. Keep catching it with my scarf, bear with me. 1 1/4 inches. 1 1/4. Then I do 1 1/2. 1 1/2. Then I'm going to do 1 1/4 again. And then I'm going to cut off a 1-inch chunk. There we go. Perfect. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the paper over and I'm going to cut myself a 3 7/8 still, but this time 5 1/4 inches. So you will be left with just a little chunk. Have I done that too wrong? No, I have done that too wide. Where was I reading my measurements? I do apologise. It's meant to be 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. So apologies for my scoring. So my second piece, once I've turned it over, is 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. Let's put this away before I can do any more damage with it. I have a piece of white piece, so we've seen that. Right, so let's do, normally I do all the bits and then I create the card, but today I'm going to create the card and you'll see why. So I'm going to score it at all the score marks. Okay, so that's 1. I'm going to score this first one, which is nearest the spine, away. Okay, all the others I will score the other way round. Okay, so I'm going to fold that one over. And then that one over. And then this one away to E. So the 2 smallest 3/8 of an inch score marks will be scored away. Because what we're going to do is we're going to glue this piece down and then this piece needs to go underneath. And then these 3 score lines here give us that nice fold. Okay, oh, the sun has decided to shine on the righteous, I wish. Well, it's definitely there. So anyway, let's get our glue stuck down. So I've got my stamp and seal and I'm just going to run that on the correct side, obviously. Now, if like me, you have just stuck it down, all you need to do is take your finger and push the glue over. Okay, and that will help you not have to show it through. Now I've missed totally this bit up here, so I will just give it a little, there we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this and then that will go into there very nicely. Okay, yeah, then the next piece goes onto here. 1 2 3. I think the corner piece is the hardest. I'm still not quite sure I'm happy with that, so let me just ease it off. I need the gap to be slightly longer, so let's just pull that off just gentle. There we go. Right, so down. There we go. It's very difficult, isn't it, to do. Let's hold that down with my finger. So that will go all the way along there. That's better. And I'll just give that a firm push. Then I can stick this one on together. Line it up. There we go. And the next piece. Do it this way. God dear, we'll be getting brighter. We'll be putting my sunglasses on. Then my next piece. And then that will go into there. Right, now, next thing we need to do, we're going to hold on to this last piece, because we need to stick down our piece of white card base more towards the right. Then, so you've got the gap here on the left is going to be wider than the gap on the right. I'm going to stick that down with my multi-purpose. Come on. You were running out on me on Wednesday. There we go. Right, let's stick that down. Okay, and then that will go onto there like so. Turn that around, pop that down. Oh no, no, stop. Good gracious me, where was my brain? Need to do this on dimensionals. So let's bring the dimensionals in. Good grief, woman. Tell it's Friday. Right. Okay, we need... So we're going to work out... So this edge here is the edge that is furthest away from the fold. So what I'm going to do is I'm trying to get the straight sides up to there. I'm going to do 3. There we go. Right. Lucky enough, it doesn't go that side, so I managed to do that quite well. A mistake quite well. Right, what we're going to do now is that piece will go there, there, and there. And then you've got this little gap under here, which allows this to click in and give you the bay window effect. But first, we need to stick this down for it to physically work. Come on. Oh, let's get rid of that one. Let's get a new one out. There we go. Oh, here we go. Oh. It'd be nice if the glue always came out like that. Right. And then just push it down, and you can use your... There we go. Okay, so that gives us that fold. Now, before we can go any further, we need to bring in our heart and a bit of washi tape. Oh, there's some washi tape. So the heart needs to go central as possible on the middle panel. So forget the two side ones, the middle panel. Okay, so I'm going to cause myself a piece of washi tape. Make sure I don't want it to tear the paper. Make sure it's in the right place. I'm going to guide it through. Then I'm going to bring in my... So it's going to go like that on my thing. I've got a sheet to go underneath. I have a... See, these are well-loved glass plates. And then the next one goes on top. And then what I do is I'm going to put it through like that. She says, picking it up. And then run it through my cut and emboss machine. And then when you bring it back, you can get rid of that bit. And you can pop the heart out gently. Okay, there we are. So there's the heart, and it shows through onto the white. Now, if you notice, there's a tiny bit of glue here that I need to put in. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a bit there and a bit there, and then just push that down because I didn't put enough of the glue on. And then you've got this little heart. I'm sure it's the coal getting to my brain today. Got a spare heart to use for something else. And then now that's down, that will fold into there like that and give you the bomb. So the next thing to do is to add your DSP into here. Again, I'm going to use my Stamp and Seal. I think then. Okay, and that goes flat. So the thing to do now is to add our little creatures, or our little creature. So I have got that. Let's do the stamping now. So I've got noughts and crosses, or hugs and kisses. I'm just going to stamp that there. So it's going to be almost like a kissing booth. crosses and knots. Oh, put my finger on that. Let's try that again. There we go. Right, and let's get our black Happy Valentine's Day. There we go, Happy Valentine's Day. So that is all of the stamping out of the way. So what we need to do now is bring in our little bear. He is going to fit, or she is going to fit at the bottom there. So you just need a very thin layer of glue. I'm literally just going to run it across the base because I don't want it too much. There we go. And then you're going to pop her or him across there. Wiggle it along so we can see both his hands. It's obviously her he for today because that's what I'm calling him. Okay, that's that bit. Then this bit is going to get stuck at the top. So you only want a tiny bit of glue along here and along here. Okay. And it's going to go straight above the head. There we go. And it can hang gently. There we go. Just give it a little bit of rid. I mean, you could do it that way. So it ticks underneath the heart. Right. So what I need to do now is bring in my gems, embellishments, and see if I can find some embellishments that I want to use. Where are they? Oh, there they go. Right, we're going to use these today. That was my ruler going to the floor. So these are the adhesive backed metallic gems. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a tiny gem, one of these gold ones, just to sit at the top here so that it looks like I've nailed it to the heart. That doesn't sound very good, does it? And then above it, we're going to put, or should we put it below? What do we think? Should we do below this time? Let's do below this time. So I'm going to put just a tiny bit of glue just across there. I want to make sure that the ends don't stick down. And then I'm going to wiggle my Happy Valentine's Day onto there, like so. And then slip it in, and you have got the perfect, she says, there we are, the perfect bay window. So that's that one, and here is the other one. So those are the two funky folds for today. So thank you ever so much for joining me this week. I hope you liked the cards that we created. Join me back next week for something totally different. Have a lovely weekend. Take care. Bye.